Good afternoon. Oh, that's this thing. It has now reached the hour for us to start our September board meeting. I would like to welcome everyone here tonight. Our chairperson should be here shortly. At this time, we're going to have prayer by Ms. Mackenzie Norman, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
May everyone please close your eyes and bow your heads. Lord, we pray that your goodness and love be with us present here today. Bless our gathering with vision and unity. Lord, we ask that you inspire our thoughts, ideas, and discussions as we work together to ensure that our school is your school. In the name of the Heavenly Father, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. McKenzie.
Thank you, Ms. Norman. At this time, we're going to have our consent items.
Our consent items consist of the agenda, minutes from the August 10th, 2021 meeting, fundraiser for the construction class program, fundraiser for the spring FFA plant sale, fundraiser for the FFA beef stick sale, fundraiser for the Lady Devils basketball, fundraiser for band, fundraiser for high school student council, fundraiser for middle school student council, fundraiser for elementary school PBIS. There is an overnight field trip to Space Camp, and 2 policies that were revised and were looked at last month and are for final vote this month: DCL fund balance and JH student activities.
I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion, we accept the consent items.
We have a motion. I need a second.
Discussion, question.
Okay.
On H, fundraiser for the high school student council, what does RADA stand for?
Yes. To it, unless Mr. or Dr. Wolski can answer it off the top of his head.
I can do it. It's the name brand of cutlery that they're selling.
Cutlery, okay.
Ah,
All right.
okay.
I'm just curious, I didn't know what that was. I do have one more question.
Okay.
On the elementary school PBIS, what kind of catalog is that?
It's not a catalog.
Oh, what is it then?
It's our positive behavior support system, and we do like house meetings and gatherings, and the children that earn the most points.
No, you're talking about what you're selling.
On the fundraiser?
You're talking about what you're
Oh,
selling.
I'm sorry. It's what does it say? Catalog, brochure, whatever. Same thing. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I wasn't following. I'm like, you don't know what PBIS is?
Yes, ma'am.
You do now.
I
No, it's like a little thin catalog brochure thing that has different items in it, like wrapping paper and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's just different gifts that you can purchase in the catalog.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm just curious, I didn't know.
Yes, sir.
Appropriate
It's
question.
Sears and Roebuck catalog.
Okay. I do know what that is, I'm kinda old, so. Is Sears Roebuck still in business?
I don't think so.
Serious, yeah.
Not in Augusta.
Thank you.
Yes,
Any other
sir.
questions?
Sorry.
Second. Okay, we have a second. All in favor? I need a vote. 4-0. Okay, at this time, we do have some public participation by Mr. Shay Chamberlain. And Mr. Chamberlain, I am smiling.
I don't know. Today I got another notice. Yes.
I have to say, first of all, say your name so everybody knows who you are on camera, and then you get the qualifying 3 minutes. So
Okay.
I have to say all of those things for the camera.
Okay.
Go ahead, you're doing good.
Shay Chamberlain. So today, my son Jacob got another notice that he has to be quarantined for another 10 days. This is, I don't know how many times he can be exposed and have to be sent home. He's not doing so good in language arts, so this is gonna set him back again. We have to start thinking about natural immunity. I know I had it, so I know everybody in the family had it. So we gotta come up with a better plan. Because sending them home with a Chromebook just isn't enough. That's it.
Okay. Next, we'll have our financials by Mr. Comfort.
Okay, we'll start out with the general fund. Excuse me. And so we are at 16.66% of our fiscal year complete through the end of August. You can see that our state QBE is right at that mark at 16.65%. The rest of the revenues, some are low, some are high. You'll notice the TAVT is already at 27.61, so we're collecting more than we are predicted on that so far. The local other, a lot of that, it's a small amount, but the percentage is high, and a lot of that is the out-of-state tuition, which I did not budget for because you never know from year to year how much that's going to be. So that's what that is. We have the first semester, I think we have 4 students right now that are paying out-of-state tuition, and we have the first semester collected for the first 9 weeks. One paid the full year in advance, so that's why that's a little bit high on those figures. So, but overall, we're 11.01% on our revenues, which is reasonable for this time of year. On our expenditures, some of those are a little high. We talked about that at the beginning of the year. We pay a lot of those software fees and dues that are yearly dues at the beginning of the year, but we're still at 15.59% overall. So our expenditures are quite in line with where they should be this time of year. On our balance sheet, the cash in the bank is about 2.8 million, and we still have a fund equity of 1.8 million. So that's again reasonable for this time of the year. We have not, of course, collected any taxes since those bills have not gone out yet. So it's reasonable for it to go down a little bit at this point in the year. On our SPLOST schedule, you can see our SPLOST is still looking quite good, 72,261.05. You look back to last year's August, it is almost the exact same figure. So we are right in line with our last year's figure. It will be interesting to see if it drops down in September, because you'll see that last year it dropped down to 54. So we'll see if the SPLOST holds or if it drops back down like it did last year, which is, I don't know why it would go down in September. Those would be collections for August. Seems like August would still be a high month, but for whatever reason, it's been lower. So we'll see. But right now, it looks good with 151 for the year. So our balance in our SPLOST account is 556,270.30. And in our bond tax, 403,287.96. So we have 959,000. We'll make that payment on September 30th of 383,362.50. We'll still have a little over 500,000 towards that April. So we're about halfway towards the April figure. On our capital projects, I set up the old high school internet connections, that project there, but that's the only one we got identified right now. So we still got a little bit of a payment on that one and about 80,000 left for other projects. The next statements are the financial status report. You know, remember that the legislature required those. So the first one's the general fund, comparing our monthly year-to-date and the budget, year-to-date to the budget. So that's very similar to the previous report we saw on the general fund. Our special revenue funds, same thing on those, a little bit lower on our revenues, but about 10% on our expenditures. The instruction looks really high on those purchase orders. 150,000 of that is the smart TVs that we have on order and have not been received, that will be coming out of our CARES 3 grant. So that's the biggest portion of that. The rest of that is mostly software and things like that that we've ordered through the grants, and the same thing on maintenance. That's HVAC that we've got encumbered but have not received. Capital projects, we've still got 4,700 that's in a purchase order there on the internet at the old field. And the debt service, and that just shows the collections that we've had thus far and how we plan to spend that. And then we have our principals accounts. We've got the elementary school, started with 26,656.17. This is through the end of June, because we do these on a quarterly basis. End of June with a 27,043.62. It's not a big change in that quarter as far as the balances. Middle school started with 50,645.19, ended with 60,676.41. The high school activities, 37,919.24, ended with 43,096.64. And athletics, 30,494.03, ended with 32,881.17. Any questions on the financials?
I do have one question. What makes the cheerleader fund jump that much as far as the balance from April to June?
Probably, were they
Is that-
selling the programs in June?
So the ads for
The ads for
Ads for the
yes.
programs,
Makes
yes.
sense. Okay. I just saw that number just move
Yep.
on both.
That's how they generate the funds to even
Yeah.
produce the program.
That'll probably go down when they pay for the programs in the next
Okay,
quarter.
I just, that number
So,
just was
Mhm.
higher
Yeah.
through that time period.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Buffer, for the financials. Next on the agenda is the approval of the 2021 tax mileage rate.
The millage rate for 2021 is, as we discussed on our Thursday called meeting, we're going to recommend the rollback. I recommend the rollback rate for our M&O at 14.568, which would be the full rollback rate, and we discussed that pretty lengthy on Thursday. And I also recommend the bond rate at 2.50. Now, we're going to lose 16,500 because it's not 2.55, but 2.50, it shows the community that we understand that our SPOS is going up a little bit. We're willing to take it back a hair, and if the SPOS continues in such a positive rate, maybe we can reduce it another year or two. We'll see how that goes. But again, recommending 14.568, the full rollback rate for M&O, and recommending the bond rate of 2.50 for the millage for 2021.
And that's rolling back 2.361 if I'm reading that correctly.
Yes, sir. Which was quite a bit, but as Kenny was here talking
That's
about
right.
it, that helped make more sense.
We need a motion?
I'll make a motion. We set this rollback.
Second.
Second by Mr. Heitman?
And the bond.
Okay, and the
And
bond.
the bond.
Thank you.
And the bond, okay. Second by Mr. Heitman, all in favor? 4-0.
Didn't want Miss Kay to lose her seat over there.
Next on the agenda is a request for the use of the Buddy Buffer Field.
We have received a request from Pop Warner to use Buddy Bufford Field on a Saturday. I know Dr. Walski has met with Will McWhorter, and Coach Humkus has talked with Will McWhorter. These dates will work for both. So September 18th and October 16th for Pop Warner to use Buddy Bufford Field. Obviously, we'll have a administrator on duty as well, but that is a recommendation for Pop Warner to use Buddy Bufford Field for 2 home games.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion we accept.
We have a motion by Mr. Reese, second by Mr. Madison. Chairperson, just in time. You want to vote on the use of the Buddy Buffer Field?
Yes.
And you can relinquish your duties.
She's smiling too.
Now she's really smiling.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor? 5-0.
Start the policies. All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is our policies for revision. We have 2 GB personnel section and IDDM alternative education program.
Okay, within the first one, which is GB, is the personnel section. I think everybody remembers, but it wasn't changed in the policy, so I needed to update it. The state gave the right to all districts to have their own their own salary schedule. They said that you can't call it the state salary schedule anymore. You have to call it by your county name. You can call it whatever you want, but we chose to call it the Lincoln County salary schedule. So that is the only change there. They do publish a state salary schedule, but it doesn't apply to us because of SWSS. We duplicate it, but we have to call it the Lincoln County schedule, and by policy, we have to change that. So that's the change there. The next one is IDDM, Alternative Education. There is a couple of changes to bring this up to date. You'll look at page 2 right at the top, includes the objective. It used to be QCCs. We don't use those anymore. We're using Georgia Performance Standards, and that's the change on alternative ed. So those are the 2 recommendations for that revision.
Any questions or discussion on those 2? Those are set for a month now.
Correct. And then policies for review, all of those are fine as written.
Okay. And we have one for policy for deletion, BCAEA, School Law Tribunals and Appeals.
Hold on a minute. I do have a question about
Okay.
naming facilities.
All right, FTC.
Yes. Just want to get the board's opinion about, I think somewhere in there said you have to have a majority of vote. I was wondering what the board thought about it being a unanimous vote. Is something of this magnitude.
Be on page 2, number 3. Says the board will review the information provided and make a determination and/or recommendation. Final approval for naming a facility in honor of an individual or group requires a majority vote of 3-2.
I mean,
I agree with you. I mean, it's something of magnitude. Everything else we do though is based on majority. And that, I mean, that's the only thing that I'll be looking at that, just from my thoughts on it.
I mean, it's being named permanently, until, for the life of the facility, so, it, really, it should be 100%, in my mind, I just think it ought to be 100%, in agreement, But that's just me, I'm just one person, I'm just throwing that out there for discussion.
Do you have something, Mr. Reese?
So number 6, how would number 6 play into when it says any restrictions herein set forth maybe waived by a unanimous vote of the board. Would that be, what is it referring to as far as that goes? Is it,
If we did not, if you see something up above that you wanted, that it could be changed, and that's where, you have all the rules and things, but that's where it would have to be a unanimous vote for anything not to be applied up there. So in other words, and I guess you'd have to go back up to where the restrictions are. Some of where the criteria, like the no longer employed,
okay,
anything
so
of that
that's what-
nature, or where it says, I think it's a certain
6 to
amount.
12 months to garner the level of support. If the board decided to waive that restriction or that requirement and wanted to name the auditorium after Mr. Madsen, then the board could decide to do that, but it would take unanimous vote at that point.
So, and that's where the different things that were put in, because I was on this when it was first created. I know, and that's, because we said, there may be some situation, but if there was a situation where some of those things didn't apply, and we wanted to overrule those, then it would be unanimous. Anybody else thoughts?
It's probably been unanimous every time. I just wanted to discuss it a little bit.
Mhm.
I guess. I don't
Other-
know what the
other
voting
thoughts?
record is.
No, I'm in agreement with the, vote you vote, based on your opinion, and then it should just be the majority. I'm in agreement with the majority. I don't think it needs to be unanimous. Being that we have the other clause in there.
Mike has a question.
Do you have a question?
Majority of 3 to 2, what if only 4 people are here? Or should it just be
It'd have to
majority?
be
Then
three.
then
Oh,
2-2 would be a tie, and that's a no.
What if it's 3-1? I'm just saying because it says 3-2
Three.
specifically.
Showing
That's just
majority
saying.
of all 5 in
Yeah.
attendance. So you probably wouldn't vote on it if all 5 weren't in
Okay.
attendance.
Or,
Surely you would hope everybody would.
Over one abstains because
Something
it's
of that,
over one abstains because it's a family member.
something for that extreme importance, though, everybody needs to vote and be here.
It's still, I see what you're saying, but it's still just the majority. It's a majority vote, and, because, if it's 5, we've had 5-0, so, it doesn't have to be a 3-2 vote. So,
I'm
it's just
saying
so
if
it's
it was
majority.
3-1, that's what I'm saying, if it was 3-1,
Yeah.
it was majority.
Yeah.
Still majority.
4-1, and so.
Should it say a minimum of 3 rather than 3 to 2? I
So,
think that's what it's asking.
yeah, because, because we can have a quorum of 3 people. So,
That's what
I
I'm
like
saying.
I think that is a good thing to add into it, so. That is something that, when you think about that, I think it would be a good thing to add that as so if we did have a majority of, well,
You could take off of 3-2 and just
Majority
leave it
vote.
majority vote, period. That eliminates the everything. Mhm.
but if we have a quorum of 3, I don't want it to be decided by 2 people.
I'm with you, which is why we put it in there in the
That's
first
what I'm
place,
saying.
for everybody
So we
to
don't
be
need
here.
it. It needs
You're
to
not
just
having
be.
representation of the whole county.
Correct, which is why we put it in there as a 3-2 majority, so that something of this magnitude, everybody would be here to vote. That's why it was put in there that way, I remember.
I would like to see everybody on the same page and be unanimous in something that's major. That's just me. I'm just one person that's in there.
I agree with you. I don't agree with you much, but I agree with you.
Anyway. Good for thought.
So, Reese, you have an opinion on it?
It's something to think about, definitely. But everybody has their own opinion a little bit, so I think you should be able to vote the way you want to. I agree with, if the 3-2 is in there. The vote should not take place unless the full board is here. So I see leaving that in there, because if someone's absent. Now, the only time it would go is if it's a family member, you would have to abstain, so I don't know how that would, but you would still have a full board with a abstained vote, so I think you would have full board present.
You could write it as abstention due to family.
Yes, so I think that should be put in there. But yeah, no decision should be made without full board, but majority, I'm good with majority.
Let's hold this one. Let's go put it as a review, and then that way we can have it for thoughts for the month, and then we can
bring it back.
revisit with either changes or review at that time. Okay, policy for deletion.
Policy for deletion is school law tribunals and appeals. I talked to our attorneys, and they said that this is covered by law and is not needed as a policy because the law would supersede the policy anyway. So they recommended deletion. So this will be deleted. We're covered by OCGA 20-2-240. So Lynn, you got that we're pulling that one out? FDC? Okay. Other than FDC, those will be laying on the table for 30 days.
Okay, next is our superintendent's reports.
We have two things. The first one is pretty routine, nutrition bids. When we go through the process of nutrition bids, we normally do this on a 3-year basis with the opportunity to roll it over and keep that state pricing every year. Now, we don't just do that blindly. We bring it to you and tell you we're going to roll over those bids. However, we review it before we do that, because if everything gets way too high, then we would go back out and try and rebid it. At this point, we're fine with the nutrition rollover bid, and I just wanted to educate the board that we're recommending to just roll this over and maintain who we are buying these things from. The next item on the superintendent's report is, I received this today. Congressman Jody Heiss is inviting us to participate in a best practices for creating safe schools and libraries. It's down in Greene County. It is on October 4th from 11 to 1. Quote, there's a box lunch served, if that helps anybody want to go. The reason that I want to go is I want to talk to Jody about a couple of other things, but I also want to hear what his idea is on safe schools and libraries. So I'm going to ride down to Greene County and hear him and talk to him. It recommends that I take an administrator, the media specialist, and a board member. So I wanted to present it to the board tonight to see if anybody was interested in attending.
October 4th, anyone want to ride to Greene County? It's a Monday, I believe, right?
It is a Monday, that's correct.
Everybody jumping in the bed.
I was looking at the schedule. I was like, oh,
That Monday got tough.
You would have a chance to visit with Congressman Heiss, obviously.
Can we let you know?
Of course. I just
You
didn't,
can take everybody, can't you?
No.
It says
I think
one.
just
Oh, okay.
so I have signed up, but I didn't want to sign up Mr. Heitman if he decided to send Mr. Madsen or something like that. So I wanted to offer it to everybody.
If you would, just look at your stuff, let them know. That way, I mean, one of us.
I'm probably busy that day, but you're probably not.
I'm busy every day. It's just what I prioritize that day.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I'll check my schedule, so, yeah, I'll try to make myself available.
Just let me know so that I can put your name in and get you lunch ordered. I'm sure it'll be something appetizing.
All right, anything else? Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session. Now, a motion by Mr. Madison, second by Ms. Martin. Want to call our meeting back to order?
Take a ride.
This The superintendent has recommended, and I make a motion, that we terminate Kurt Jones effective 8/20/2021. We have a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? Unanimous. The superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we hire Ms. Melissa Durham as the lead custodian for the 2021-2022 school year for the high school and middle school. We have a second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we hire Ms. Ronnie Tootin as food service substitute. We have a second by Mr. Reese. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we hire Ms. Brianna West as a substitute bus driver. We have a second by Ms. Barstow. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we accept the resignation of Stevie Chapman effective July 29, 2021.
Second.
Second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. The superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we hire Miss Donna McCurry Collins as a parapro at the elementary school. And a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? Unanimous. The superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we approve the following as substitute teachers for the 2021-2022 school year. Kevin Betts, Emily Darlin, Missy Jennings, Beverly Blanton, Elizabeth Bagwell, Mark Jennings, Ashley Reynolds, Diane Reese, Rachel Lilly, and Paige Williamson.
Second.
Have a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? The superintendent is recommended, and I make a motion that we hire Ms. Summer McDonald to a teaching position at the elementary school for the remainder of the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. Any motion?
Can we go home?
No motion by
Can I
Mr.
ask
Madison.
one thing
Go.
real quick? I'm sorry, can I clarify something? Ms. Chapman's resignation was effective September 2nd, not July 29th.
Okay.
I thought it was 29.
No, sir, she didn't come this year. but
Right.
Her resignation was the 2nd because, she was out on maternity leave.
Okay, sorry about that.
And remember, we've got to pay her that
Mhm.
maternity
Right.
leave.
Does that change anybody's vote? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Madison to adjourn. Second by Ms. Hyden. Unanimous.